If you're watching this, you've just found the signal. Today, I want to talk about Conan and the Accursed items. What you see before you are a group of books I went to the library and picked up. What you probably don't know is that these are accursed items. And you say, well, why do you say that? Well, this is something I discovered over time. I used to absolutely love Conan the Barbarian. The adventures were just amazing to me. I've never seen anything like it. This man with just brute strength and a very small amount of charisma and basically street smarts managed to go fight into the most amazing war battles. He managed to get himself into certain things and get himself out of certain things. And he hated sorcerers, and he usually put it to the... He was a bad guy himself, really. He's more like a thug type of guy. But he also managed to beat the really bad guys. And I think that might be a lie of Satan. He likes to tell you that, oh, there are bad guys, but then there are really bad guys, and you need the regular bad guys to fight off the really bad guys. Why don't we just all be good guys? Try to live moral lives and be decent people. And you really won't have a need for a super bad guy. But anyway, I used to love these adventures. Now I went to the library and picked these up. What I did right here is a sin. I went to the library and I picked these books up to give you an illustration of the books. The only problem is I'm not really supposed to have these in the house, and I'll tell you why. If you will pick up your Bible, I'm just going to read the scripture for you. But if you'll read in Deuteronomy 7, 25 and 26, it'll go as such. It says, the graven images of their gods, and I'm in parentheses, I'll put idols, because there's no such thing as gods. There are these fallen angels that like to pretend to be these all-powerful entities, but they don't exist. They're just idols. What a lot of people call God really should be referred to as the Holy Lord or the Holy Father, or Elohim, which is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and they share in their in the equality of this Godhead. But like I said again, there's no such thing as really as God. There's a Holy Lord, there's a Holy Father, but what a lot of people refer to as God, it's a word they created to put all these different entities under one umbrella. But in actuality, most of these entities don't deserve anything like that. The word God, G-O-D, is basically dog, spelled backwards. The dog stands for dogma. It's not like a canine. It's for dogma. It's like your belief system, the stuff you really believe. And so that dogma is what they figured you would gravitate to. And so I said all that. I guess I got all off point. But there's no such thing as a god as far as these people. Like they got these new movies like Thor. He's supposed to be a god. That's not a god. That's actually Satan. So when you go to that movie and you're rooting for Thor, you're literally rooting for Satan. But anyway, I'm going to read it over. It's Deuteronomy 7, 25 and 26. It says, the graven images of their gods, again in parentheses, idols, shall ye burn with fire. You get rid of them. When you go into this land the Lord is giving you, and you find these graven images, you get rid of them. Okay, burn with fire. Thou shalt not desire the silver or gold that are on them. So when you find these idols made of stone, made of wood, whatever, and they have silver and gold in them, don't take the silver and gold off of the idol and take it back to your house. It's cursed. It's an accursed thing. And I'll read on. It says, thou shalt not desire the silver or gold that is on them, nor take it unto thee, lest thou be snared therein. For it is an abomination to the Lord thy God. So again, God is a big thing here, but Holy Lord is who you're trying not to offend, the Holy Elohim. 26. Neither shalt thou bring an abomination into thine house, lest thou be a cursed thing like it, but thou shalt utterly detest it, and thou shalt utterly abhor it, for it is a cursed thing. So this is what we're talking about. I believe Conan the Barbarian, as much as I loved these books when I was coming up, Conan the Barbarian is an accursed thing, and I'll tell you why. If you check out the story of Conan the Barbarian, the way that Robert, what is the guy who created these stories? His name was Robert. I won't say Robert E. Howard, but whatever. The guy who Robert E. Howard came up with this idea that there was this guy named Conan, and he was just a strong, masterful warrior from the time he was a kid. And Conan the Barbarian had a dad named Kull. Kull comes from descendants that came from Atlantis. This is very telling. If you know anything about witchcraft and what people know about the Great Isle of Atlantis, what you'll come to know is that Atlantis was an isle of witchcraft. It was a place known to have, if you believe any of the materials written on it, mostly I say through witchcraft sources, they'll tell you that Atlantis was a place that was known to have tons of Nephilim, tons of giants, tons of people who worked witchcraft, tons of these supposed, like I said, lesser, what people would call lesser gods or whatever, these idols. And it was a place of witchcraft. It was a place of great witchcraft. Now, if Kull is a descendant of people who somehow managed to survive the flood, the great flood they mentioned in the Bible in Genesis 6, and made their way to this certain area in Germany or Europe or whatever, and Conan is a descendant of that, that would really mean that Conan is literally a descendant of the Nephilim. I've told people this before, but probably nobody's heard it on here. Whenever you see anything where there's a character in a film or a movie or a book or anything, and it's a descendant of the old ones, it's a descendant of those fallen angels, it's a descendant of the Nephilim or however you pronounce it, Nephilim. Same thing with Harry Potter. They tell you he has the blood of the old ones in him. There's a reason why they keep doing that, because if you have the blood of the old ones in you, supposedly, you have more magical properties, and these entities behind the veil can do things in your life. But more so than that, I want to get to these accursed items. Okay, what you see before you, these books, they're accursed items. They're accursed items because Conan lives in a place where most of the people believe in many gods. And not only do they believe in many gods, they worship these supposed gods. And they want to hang out with them. And they're always doing things in the name of these supposed entities. And they love blood sacrifice. Well, that's one thing. If you ever read up on Satan and witchcraft, you'll find out he loves blood sacrifice. The God of the Bible, the Holy Elohim, says that he hates blood sacrifice. He wants you to live your lives purely, and he says that's a living sacrifice. Satan says he doesn't care anything about living sacrifice. He wants to see some blood, and that's what he's talking about. So anyway, one of the reasons why I like Conan so much, why I used to like Conan so much, is because of a 1982 film by director John Milius and a screenwriter by at that time by the name of Oliver Stone. And they wrote this treatment for Conan the Barbarian. That 1982 version of Conan the Barbarian was amazing in my opinion. It really took you to another world. Arnold Schwarzenegger, in my opinion, was perfect in that role. He really was a kind of beefy guy, and he kind of looked the part, as they say. And he played the role very well. Well, what most people don't understand is there's a very subtle subplot in that film that if you blink or you're not paying attention, you will definitely miss it. But one of the big subplot in that film is that Conan is really sent by an entity behind the veil to go take out another entity, exacting revenge for his parents' death on another entity known as Set. Now Conan is sent by a supposed entity that he serves, a god that he serves known as Crum, and the entity he's going after is an entity known as Set. And that's I think the main villain was Thresher Doom. I've forgotten, but that's what I think it is. But it's a subtle scene in which Conan is running from a group of wolves. He falls into this cave, and inside the cave it's the cave of the supposed god that he serves, known as Crum. What's interesting about the scene is he falls into the cave. It's a giant sitting on the throne. The giant has a sword, and that's the sword that he uses to not only break the bonds on his feet, but actually fight the wolves that caused him to fall into the cave. You wouldn't think much about the scene, but that scene basically is saying that Crum basically saved Conan for an ultimate purpose of destroying Set. And that proves positive. If you watch that movie, it proves positive. That's exactly what happens. Conan, in a way, kind of gets blessed to go take out another entity. Well, if you read anything about these fallen angels, these things, you'll find that they're always fighting. They're always getting into it. And if somebody if one of them offends another person, they'll use any means necessary to get to them. So that is a subplot. And I want to tell you about these accursed items. Anything's an accursed item. An accursed item is any item where anybody puts a spell on it. You say, what would be the purpose of that? That's finding that hard to believe. I know everybody finds this stuff hard to believe. I know when I first started finding out about witchcraft practices and the things they believe, that's nuts. But this is what they believe. They get cookies from the spirit world, and that's the best way I can tell you. They get rewarded when they do certain things. And so, you may not believe this, but certain people in certain movies, they put spells in the movie. And they pray over that movie to Satan. Anyway, I think you may have heard this from Rosh Kara. He talks about how they you want to know why they always wait a year to bring out a sequel to a movie like The Hunger Games. I hear they're gonna break the next chapter. They're gonna break it in 2 parts, and they'll release it, one a year. So why do they wait a full year? And say you could just wait 6 months. Well, what they do is they believe they have to put prayers on those movies from Satan, and so they want to do the witchcraft rituals right, so they can put up things to where they get blessed for their prayers or whatever. That's crazy, but I know it to be true because they do the same things with books like these. I'm not saying they did, I'm just saying they like to. And so there's a lot of books that have prayers on them. They're cursed items. I had to learn the hard way about books or magazines like Heavy Metal or Playboy Magazine or Penthouse, which are naturally bad anyway. If you have Playboy or Penthouse in your house, they're ridiculously bad for you because I believe, this is my opinion, I believe they put spells on them. But not only that, the naked images that are in those books literally tells God, the God of heaven, the Holy Elohim, that you don't really care about how he lives. It's a token, it's a representation of how Satan lives or how these other entities get down. And when you do that, those entities say that they have the right to come into your house. Of course, I said again, just the naked images is enough. But if you, and I know you don't believe it, chuckle all day, ha ha ha, it's funny until you find out otherwise. But I just read to you in Deuteronomy what it says. It said, don't bring this stuff in here. It's an abomination to the Lord thy God. Neither shalt thou bring an abomination into thine house, lest it be a cursed thing, a thing like it. But thou shalt utterly detest it, and thou shalt utterly abhor it, for it is a cursed thing. when you have it in your midst, when you have that accursed, and look this up anyway. I shouldn't have to tell you this. Put a accursed engine into a search engine, and see what happens. I think it's in the book of Joshua. What happens to when a guy took some of that gold and silver and he hid it? See what happened to the people of Israel once that went down. You're not supposed to have that stuff. And so I mentioned Playboy Penthouse and Heavy Metal Magazine. Well, not only those, but it's anything. Anything can be an accursed item. Those cigarettes that you smoke, they could be an accursed item. That tattoo you got on your arm, that could be an accursed item. And it is. Because anything, you're not supposed to get any markings on your body. I don't care what anybody tells you. Especially if you're a Christian. You're not supposed to get any markings on your body because they're representative of totems. So if you go get a image of a frog on your arm, a tattoo, what happens is these entities that live behind the veil, if they think that they're representative, if there's an entity that thinks that it's the god of frogs and you have a frog on your arm, it says it can come and mess with you. Why? Because you gave it permission. Well, the same thing for these Playboys and Penthouses and the stuff you see before you. If you're giving it permission, and there's one Conan comic book that I haven't seen, that I've read, that doesn't mention an entity known as, I think it's Mitra. It's Mitra. I think that's it. And I believe that that's representative of Satan. Well, I haven't found a Conan comic book that doesn't mention this entity. So when you have this stuff in your house, these entities say that they have the right to come in there. It's like giving them an invitation. And like I said, they put spells on everything. Witchcraft is a whole lot bigger than most people realize. They put all kinds of things on all kinds of things. So cigarettes are a biggie. Alcohol is a biggie. In fact, they even call alcohol spirits. I mean, give me a break. But they put spells on CDs, DVDs, magazines. People sell their soul to get fame and fortune, especially in the arts. They put it on various whatnot. So when you go to the store and you're buying these certain jewelry, or you're looking at certain little figurines or something, take some time out and ask, is this of the Holy Lord, or is this something else? If it's something else, you need to leave it on the shelf. If you see a piece of jewelry and it's got skull and bones and a pentagram at the bottom, give me a break, man. I mean, let's be real. I mean, that's a satanic piece of jewelry. Leave it on the shelf. But they put spells on video games, and they even put spells on clothing. And so how bad is that? You're wearing a t-shirt because you just want something to wear, or you decide to go get a hoodie, and you're wearing your hoodie, and there's a symbol on there that attracts these entities from this other realm. That's crazy, but it's real, and it does happen. And the same thing with this. I love these stories. I love a sense of adventure, but they're not worth losing your soul to, and they're definitely not worth being cursed over. So that's my take. This has been Conan the Barbarian in the accursed items. If you have these items in your house, get rid of them. Any drug paraphernalia in your house can draw these entities in your house. It's like giving them an invitation. Any witchcraft items in your house, these entities can come in your house. Why? Because they say, we've been given an invitation. You let out an invitation. And I know from personal experience, any type of thing dealing with pornography, I'm telling you, that Playboy magazine, the girl looks cute in there and whatever, I'm telling you, deadly. Those entities will come in there anytime they feel like it. And when you ask why, you go to the Holy Lord Elohim and go, what happened? What happens is he says, well, you let them in. You gave them an invitation. You brought their property into your home. So don't get mad with me. Just remove it. If you don't want them there, you don't want to be accursed, you don't want things to go wrong or fruity in your life, you're going to have to get rid of them. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for listening, and it's just something to consider. This has been The Signal.